Create enriching experiences beyond the classroom through ACSI Student Leadership and Learning with Emily Pigott.
Well, hello and welcome to the Student Leadership and Learning Podcast, where we journey together to impact, influence, and equip today's students to lead with intentionality and purpose. Well, I'm your host, Emily Pigott, and today we are unwrapping a gift that doesn't come in a shiny paper or even have a pretty bow on it, and that is the gift of presence, spelled Presence. Now, before you check out, because you think I'm going to tell you about how you need to dim the lights and play ocean sounds and pretend you're on a retreat, don't worry, we're not doing that. I'm not suggesting you add another quiet time routine to your already full day, but I do want to talk about how you can rediscover stillness, even in the month of December. It might just be the best leadership move you and I can make all year. So have you ever noticed how December has two speeds, fast and faster, between grading papers and exams and concerts and field trips and Christmas programs? It's like trying to sip from a fire hose of festivities. But I'll never forget one December when the noise of the season overtook me. I was in year 20 of being in administration, yet still teaching one class, of course, to ensure that I never lost touch with students. You'd think by year 20, I'd have the rhythm down, right? Well, but even after 2 decades, December still had a way of turning calm educators into caffeine-powered event planners, because we needed one more thing to do, right? I had my office, the school hallways, and every classroom had to be decked out. And our calendar, oh yeah, you bet, it was overflowing. I intended to be at every single Christmas program. Yep, every single one. It didn't matter. Even though I was a high school principal, I was coming to the elementary ones. Why? Because those are my future students. And yes, I even wore my trusty Jingle Bell socks for some extra festive flair. And my students actually grew quite annoyed with them as I jingled around the classroom. But somewhere around week 2, I realized that those socks had lost their jingle. And honestly, so would I. I was still leading, I was still teaching, I was still showing up, but somewhere between the Christmas parties and the concerts and the rehearsals and the endless to-do list, I noticed my spirit felt, I guess I would call it quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, the tired kind of quiet. And it hit me. Even after 20 years, you can still forget that presence matters more than productivity. I do struggle with that. Students don't need us to sparkle. They need us to just show up with a steady heart and a listening ear. I was there, but I wasn't present. My mind was already mentally checking off the to-do list of items while my students were telling me stories, and they knew it, and I knew it. You see, students can always tell when you're physically in the room, but emotionally or mentally somewhere else. They're so smart and so perceptive. Psalms 46:10 reminds us, be still and know that I am God. Not be busy and know, not be impressive and know, just be still. You see, stillness isn't laziness. It's actually spiritual attentiveness. It's the ability to notice where God is moving in the midst of the noise. So let's be real. We educators, we love a good checklist. We thrive on plans and outcomes and rubrics, but God doesn't call us to perfection. He calls us to presence. So think about Jesus. When the Word became flesh, it wasn't the Word became a digital download. He didn't lead from afar. He walked, he listened, he lingered, and he loved people right where they were. He was fully present. I once had a student who told me about their pet iguana. I know this sounds silly, but literally every single day for weeks. And now there were mornings that I thought, Lord, if I hear one more story about that reptile. But then one day, mid-conversation, he stopped and said this: "Thanks for always listening, Mrs. Pigott. Most adults don't." That stopped me in my tracks, because sometimes our listening, it's actually the lesson. Philippians 2:4 reminds us, let each of you not look to his own interest, but also to the interest of others. That means showing up fully, even when your to-do list is long and the coffee has long run out. So how do we practice presence when our December feels like a snow globe that's been shaken up again and again? Here's a couple of ideas for you to try. First, start your class or your day, if you're a school leader, with a sacred pause. I have done this and it has changed things for me. Before the bell rings, take 30 seconds. Breathe. Whisper a prayer. God, help me see my students today the way you see them. You'll be surprised how your spirit resets. Maybe end the day with gratitude. We talk about this a lot as as Christians, but how often do we do it? Me personally, not as often as I should. So before leaving, jot down one moment of God's goodness. Keep a record of this, a smile, a student breakthrough, or your patience when the copier jammed again and again, or actually when the projector didn't work, or the technology stalled, or my personal favorite, when the Wi-Fi goes down. Gratitude, it will reset our hearts for the next day. Create moments, not just lessons. Ask students this question. Our questions with our students is so important. Where did you see kindness today? What's something that made you laugh today? Where did you see God in your school day? Those micro moments, they build trust and they build connection faster than any other thing we can do as an educator. Then I'm going to say this, even though I'm not really good at it, protect your margin. Luke 5:16 says this, but Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. If Jesus made space to rest, so can we. And hey, even Mary took a break after birthing the Savior of the world, right? So we can take a break after all of our Christmas concerts. I once visited a school where a teacher had what she called a peace chair. It was a simple seat in the corner off on the side of her room, and it is where students could come and sit and breathe and pray when they felt overwhelmed. One day a student sat there during lunch and the tears quietly fell. And the teacher did not approach the student because that was the deal with the peace chair. If you came and you sat, that was your moment, that was your space. But later on, she told the teacher, this was the first time all week where I could just breathe. That is powerful. That's the power of presence. We can't control every storm our students face. We certainly can't even control our own storms, but we can create calm waters where they can come up for air. We can create calm moments in our classroom where they can learn to breathe in and where they can learn to breathe out. See, when we lead with presence, we remind students that peace isn't in the absence of chaos. It's the awareness of Christ in the middle of that chaos. So as you wrap your gifts and you grade your finals and you count down the days to break, remember this. The greatest gift you can give your students isn't perfect lessons or TikTok worthy classrooms. It's you. It's your presence. It's your peace. It's your prayers. Because when you're fully present, you communicate this to your students. You are seen, you are known, and you are loved. Isaiah 9:6 calls Jesus the Prince of Peace. And when you bring stillness into your classroom, you are reflecting him. So this week, or as you wrap up this school year, take one sacred pause at least per day. Listen to your students longer than necessary. Smile at the teacher who's hanging on by a peppermint mocha and a prayer. And when break comes, let your soul catch up with your body. Because the God who called you to teach is the same God who invites you to rest. Thanks for joining me today on the Student Leadership and Learning podcast. As always, if you found this episode helpful, share it. Share it with a fellow teacher, share it with a school leader, and don't forget to subscribe so that you are pinged with more episodes as they drop. And until next time, may your classrooms be filled with peace, your heart be still, and your presence point every student back to Jesus, the true gift of this season. What you do matters every moment, every day. You are a difference maker, and your students are worth it. We'll see you next time.
Student Leadership and Learning is a presentation of the Association of Christian Schools International. Create enriching experiences beyond the classroom by visiting acsi.org/studentleadership.